The high street had a charm that Amelia never tired of. It wasn't flashy or grand like the bustling avenues of the city. Instead, it carried the kind of quiet magic only a small town could offer. Old stone buildings leaned with character, their windows adorned with flower boxes that changed with the seasons. A bakery released the scent of fresh bread every morning, mingling with the warm fragrance of coffee drifting from the cafe 2 doors down. And then there was her little shop, a modest boutique tucked between the florist and the antique store, its window always carefully dressed with soft fabrics and subtle details. Amelia had grown up here, and though she'd left for a time, the high street had pulled her back. After her mother passed, running the boutique felt like the natural thing to do. At first, it was bittersweet, too many memories folded into every corner, but over time, it became her sanctuary. She poured herself into it, stitching together displays, greeting neighbors by name, and finding peace in the steady rhythm of shop life. That morning, rain had just begun to drizzle, tapping softly against the glass. Amelia pulled her cardigan closer and stepped outside to adjust the display, fussing with a scarf on the mannequin so it draped just right. A gust of wind sent the edge fluttering, and she laughed softly to herself, shaking her head at the stubbornness of fabric against weather. It was then she noticed him. He was across the street, crouched low by the bicycle stand, fighting with a chain that didn't seem to want to cooperate. His hair was damp already, darkened by the rain, and his coat had the slightly worn look of something beloved rather than discarded. There was a faint furrow in his brow, a quiet determination as he worked, as though the entire world had narrowed down to the lock and chain in his hands. Something about the scene pulled her in. She told herself it was just curiosity, the natural instinct of someone who lived on a street where everyone noticed everything, but her gaze lingered longer than it should have. The man glanced up suddenly, perhaps sensing he was being watched. Their eyes met across the rain-speckled street, and for a moment, Amelia forgot the mannequin, forgot the scarf, forgot the drizzle dampening her hair. He gave a small, sheepish smile, lifting one shoulder as though to say, "Caught me, haven't you?" And then he returned to his task. Amelia ducked her head, feeling a warmth rise in her cheeks. Silly. Just a stranger. Still, when he finally secured the bike and crossed the street, she found her breath hitching just slightly as he headed straight toward her shop. The bell chimed when he entered, a sound she always loved, delicate and inviting. He pushed damp curls back from his forehead and glanced around, taking in the shelves of scarves, handbags, and neatly folded garments. "Sorry," he said, his voice warm with a local accent, though softer, refined. "I wasn't planning on stopping in, but," he gestured toward the door, where rain had picked up to a steady pour. "Thought I'd wait out the worst of it." "Of course," Amelia said, recovering quickly. She smiled politely, folding her hands behind the counter. "You're welcome to stay as long as you like." He moved slowly through the shop, not rushing, his fingers brushing over fabrics as though testing their texture. She noticed how he handled everything with care, not in the careless way some did. "You've made this place beautiful," he remarked after a moment, glancing back at her. Amelia blinked, surprised. "Thank you. I try. It shows." His smile deepened slightly before he returned his gaze to the scarves. He picked one up, a deep navy piece with faint embroidered stars, and held it up. "This is lovely. Did you make it?" She hesitated, then nodded. "Yes. Some of the stock I design myself. Others are from small makers I know." "Talented and thoughtful," he said, turning the scarf over in his hands. Then, after a pause, "I'll take it." She hadn't expected that. "Oh, you don't have to. Really." "I want to." He brought it to the counter, and as she rang it up, she noticed his hands again, warm, steady, with a faint callus at the base of his fingers. Not the hands of someone idle. "Do you live here in town?" Amelia asked before she could stop herself, the words slipping out as naturally as curiosity. He looked up, meeting her eyes. "Just moved, actually. Flat above the old bakery. Still getting used to it." The old bakery. Just 2 doors down. Amelia felt a strange flutter, one that surprised her with its strength. "Welcome, then. The high street has a way of making people feel at home." "I hope so." He smiled again, softer this time, more reserved. Then he took his purchase, thanked her, and disappeared into the rain. For the rest of the afternoon, Amelia found herself distracted. She caught herself glancing out the window more than once, scanning the street as though he might reappear. And when she closed up that evening, the shop suddenly felt a little too quiet, the rain outside a little too insistent. She told herself it was nothing. Just a stranger passing through. Just a neighbor, now, settling into town life. But deep down, something told her the high street had just given her more than another customer. It had given her a beginning.